Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this waffle pattern baby bonnet. The way that I increase on the corner, it makes a small point on the top, which I think is so cute. It's a very quick and easy tutorial, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos, and let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. For this project, I'm going to be taking this medium weight 100% cotton yarn and a 3.75mm hook. So to get started, I'm going to begin with a slip knot, and then I'm going to be chaining a total of 28. Next, I'm going to be going right back into that very first chain of the row, placing a single crochet. I'm just going to do a row of single crochets. The end of the row with single crochet, I'm just going to chain one to bring up the next row, flip over my work. Then I'm going to be beginning into the waffle stitch. So I'm going to be doing double crochet. So I'm going to loop the yarn around my hook, go through that very first chain in the row. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 2. That is a double crochet. Then I'm going to be going through that very next stitch with a double crochet. Then in the stitch after, I'm going to only be going through the back stitch. So I'm going to be placing a double crochet in that back stitch instead of the entire stitch. And then repeat this sequence for the remainder of the row. So you're going to be doing the next 2 chains with a regular double crochet, and then after those 2 regular double crochets, just do a double crochet in the back stitch of the next chain. So I'm going to be repeating that sequence until the end of the row. So now I've made it to the end of the row. I just have 1 chain left. So that very last chain of the row will be a back stitch chain, but since it's the very last chain, I'm just going to go ahead and put a regular double crochet through the entire last stitch. Then to begin on the next row, I'm going to be chaining 1 to bring up the work, and then we are going to continue with the waffle stitch. So I am going to be just placing 1 single crochet in that very first chain. So then for the next 2 chains, these were the 2 regular single crochets. I'm just going to be placing 1 single crochet in each of these stitches. Then for that next single crochet, it is the one that is in the back stitch, so I am going to want to keep that pulled forward. So I'm just going to put my hook completely through the back of it, and I'm going to place my double crochet there, then 2 double crochets as normal, and then a double crochet through the back post. Continue this sequence for the remainder of the row. I've made my way to the end of the row. Just chain 1 to bring up your work, flip it over, and we're going to continue with the waffle stitch. So basically we're going to be alternating 2 different patterns for the remainder of this bonnet hat. So I'm just going to be placing 1 single crochet in that very first chain of the row. And now basically we want to keep certain chains in the back and certain chains in the front. So this very next chain is facing forward, so I'm going to be doing a back post double crochet behind it to keep it in that position. Then the very next chain is facing backwards, so I'm going to just be doing a regular double crochet through the top. The next 2 chains are pulling forward, so I'm going to keep them forward with back posts. Then the next chain is back, so just a regular double crochet. So I'm just going to be continuing that. It's basically the exact opposite of the last row with the back post stitches and the regular stitches. So now I'm at the end of the row, chain 1, flip over your work, and as you can see, it is starting to create that waffle pattern. So now for this next row, we're going back to not the last row, but the row before its pattern. So again, always in every row, just 1 double crochet in that very first chain. And then these 2 next double crochets beneath are facing back, so they just get regular double crochets in the top of them. And then on that next double crochet, it is facing forward, so we're going to want to do a back post to keep it forward. And then continue this. So I am going to be continuing this for a couple more rows. So I've completed the remainder of the row. As you can see, the waffling pattern is coming out really nicely. So I'm going to continue that for 4 more rows, and then I'm going to begin on increasing. So this is going to be the side of the bonnet, and we are working our way around the head. So for these bonnets, I have realized through trial and error, you really want the part that is going to be sitting at their neck to be a lot smaller than obviously the top of it. So this is already a completed hat that I've made. So we are going to be crocheting this bulk right here, which needs to kind of pull in smaller so it can tie correctly at their chin. So I'm going to be doing 4 more rows. So it's going to be 2 more waffling pattern, and then we are going to be increasing for the remainder of the hat. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue. So now I've finished with the additional 4 rows. I am going to begin on my increase. So I'm going to chain 1 to bring up the work, flip it over. In this first chain, I'm going to be placing 2 double crochets. That is for the increase. Then I'm going to continue the pattern as normal. So chains that are forward, I'm going to be doing back post stitches. Chains that are backwards, just regular double crochets. Now that I've finished with that row, this is the side that has the increase, and we are only going to be increasing on this side. So I'm going to be doing a total of 10 more rows, but make sure you're only increasing along this one side. So I'm going to be chaining 1, flipping over my work, beginning this row as normal. So I am nearing the end of the row. I do have 3 chains left. So I have my regular chain, and then I have the 2 chains, which is the increase from the row before. So I'm going to be continuing the pattern into the increased chains. So let's see, I have 1 double crochet pulled forward. So the next 2 are going to be regular. And then I do have that last increased chain. So that one will be a forward facing chain, but since it is the last chain of the row, I'm just going to put 1 double crochet through the top. So now I've finished off this row. We are not going to be increasing on the ends of the row. I am only going to be increasing if it's the beginning of the row. We are basically going to increase every other row, and we're going to do this pattern for 10 more rows. Flip over the work, and now since it's the beginning of the row and on the increase side, I will be increasing in this very first chain. So place a total of 2 double crochets through that very first chain. Then you're just going to continue the pattern as normal. So I've made it to the end of the row, and as you can see, it is starting to lift off and increase on this one side. This is going to be the side that is around their face. And this is going to be the back, and it's going to lift off and create a kind of small point at the top. So now I've finished with the one side. I've done a total of 10 squares all the way up. So now we're going to just continue and work our way down the other side of the hat. So for this very top row, I'm not going to be increasing or decreasing. I'm just going to do one regular row. So now I've made my way to the end of the row. I'm just going to chain one, flip over my work, and this is going to be the row that we begin with decreases. So since we're only going to be decreasing on the side that we had increased on, I am just going to make my way down, and then on that second to last chain, I'm going to be decreasing in those 2 chains. So I'm going to just continue this row as normal, and I will come back and show you the decrease. So now I'm at the very end of the row. I only have 3 chains left in this row. So for all of the decreases, you are going to decrease in the third from the last and the second from the last chain. So I am going to wrap the yarn around my hook as if you were preparing for a normal double crochet. Then I'm going to go into the third from the last chain, yarn over, pull through. And instead of completing this chain, I'm going to just yarn over, pull through 2. I'm not going to complete the chain yet. I'm going to yarn over, go through the second to last chain, yarn over again, pull through 2, and then pull through 3. So that is going to effectively decrease 2 chains into 1 chain. So then you're just going to place the last double crochet through that very last chain, chain 1, flip over, and then we are going to just do this row as normal. And then for the next row, we're going to decrease at the end. So you are basically going to be doing the same exact thing that you did to increase. You're going to only increase on the beginning of the row, and now you're only going to decrease at the end of the row. So this is going to be just a regular row, and then on the row after this is going to be the decrease at the end, and you're going to repeat that for 10 rows. So now I've just completed that second row. We did not decrease, but on this very next row, I'm just going to chain 1, flip over. Now the side we need to decrease on is at the end, so I will be decreasing at the end of the row. So I will begin this row as normal. Now we'll come back once I reach the end of the row. So now that I have reached the end of the row, I do have 3 chains left, so I'm going to begin the decrease, yarn over, go through that third to last chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go through that second to last chain, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. Then I'm going to yarn over and go through that very last chain with a regular double crochet, and then that decreases. So again, the very next row, the decrease would happen at the beginning, so I'm not going to decrease. I'm only going to decrease at the ends of the row. So I'm going to do this row as normal, and then for the next row is going to be the decrease. Then do as normal, then the decrease in the next row. So I'm just going to continue that. I will continue that for 7 more rows. So now I have made my way back down to the point where I do not need to do any more decreases. I'm just going to do the last remaining bulk of the side of the bonnet. And I'm just going to be doing 7 more rows without any decrease. So I have finished with the entire length of the bonnet. As you'll see, your project will go from skinny to wide back to skinny. So then all I'm going to do is crochet the back piece together. So you're going to want to make sure that the waffle pattern side is facing inward. So the backward side is facing out. And then I'm just going to continue my same working yarn, and at the very bottom, I'm just going to be joining the two sides together, and I'm going to be working my way up with single crochets. So just go ahead and work your way all the way up to the top with single crochet. So now I've finished the edging along the side of the hat, so it is connected. So I am just going to cut and tie, and then I'm going to begin on the edging that's around the face. So now when you flip this the right side, it's just a beautiful waffle stitch pattern, a almost done hat. So to begin on the edging, we are going to make it separate and then crochet it on after. So I'm just going to begin with a slip knot. And then I'm going to crochet a total of 7. Then I'm going to go back along that row, first chain. I'm going to be placing my hook, and I'm going to do a single crochet, making my way back down the row with single crochet. Reach the end, I'm going to chain 1, flip over the work, place a single crochet in that very first chain that is connected to the chain 1. And then I'm going to begin with single crochets in the back stitches only. So instead of going through this whole chain, which is those 2 strings, I'm only going to be going through the back. So just go ahead and make your way down the row with back stitch single crochets. So I've made my way to the end. I'm going to chain 1, flip over my work. Oh gosh. Chain 1, flip over your work, then go through that very first chain with your hook, placing 1 single crochet, and then again only working through the back stitches. I'm going to be placing a row of single crochet in the back stitch only. So you're basically just going to repeat this. You're going to want it to fit the length. Sorry, that is my baby. You're going to want it to fit the length of the hat when it's stretched. So I will come back and let you know how many rows that ends up being. So now I've finished with the edging. I did a total of 54 rows. So this isn't going to line up 100% to the edge. I do want to have to stretch it a little bit because I don't want the top of the bonnet to be too loose. So when you stretch it, it'll cinch in just a little bit, and that will be perfect for the edging. So I'm just going to continue along my working side, and I'm going to flip the edging. So the bonnet is currently right side out. The waffle pattern is facing outward. I'm going to be flipping the edging, laying it flat along the side. And then from here, I'm just going to attach this with a row of single crochet. So while you're attaching it, just be mindful to stretch this out just a little bit while you're attaching, so that when you reach the other side, you won't have a gap. So now I have finished attaching the edging on. If you flip it the right side forward, then you'll see that you are almost done with your hat. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm going to be adding an edging along the bottom of the bonnet. I personally don't really like to add edging along the face. You totally can. I kind of just like leaving it raw like that. So all I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut and tie off my working yarn, and then I'm going to attach the ties and do the edging at the same time. So I'm going to take my yarn, make a slip knot, and then I'm going to begin a chain of anywhere from 10 to 30. It depends how long you want your straps to be. I like to keep mine a little bit on the shorter side just because this is going to be worn by a baby, so I don't want to pose any choking or strangulation risk, so I don't like to make these strings too long. So I just did a chain of 20, and then I'm just going to attach it straight on to the corner. And I'm going to be weaving in these ends as I go. So I'm just going to go through that very corner chain with my chain. And I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a single crochet. And then I'm just going to work my way along. And as I am doing this, I am going to be decreasing. So basically for this, I am not going to be placing in every single chain. I am going to be skipping. So I'm going to just make this chain a little bit tighter. I don't have an exact pattern for this or how many I'm skipping. I'm just making sure to keep this chain tight. So as you can see, instead of placing one in the middle here, I'm just going to skip over to the other side while I am weaving in these. So probably I'll do one stitch next to each other, and then so every other stitch is going to be a little bit more. So I just have one here. Instead of going in the very next chain, I'm going to go in the next chain. So I hope that makes sense. So now I've made my way all the way around the bottom of the bonnet, and I'm at the very corner. So I'm just going to chain off to make the other string. I'm gonna do 20 chains. So once you're finished edging off the bottom, then you are completely finished. It's a pretty quick project to make up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.